I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm your host Dano. Of course, you guys know that. You guys, I got a really great guest with me tonight. Before I bring her on, though, I just want to say thank you so much for supporting the show. Whether it's subscribing, memberships, checking that out on Spotify or any of the other podcasting platforms. Truly appreciate it. If anybody out there has had an encounter and you'd like to come on the show, go ahead and drop me an email at the Cryptid Podcast 72@gmail.com. If you have a story and you just want to get it off your chest, by all means, I'll listen to you. And again, same email, the Cryptid Podcast 72@gmail.com. Now, you guys, I just want to say that our guest tonight, I don't cover a lot of these, but when I do, I really, really pay attention to them because these have been proven to be real. My guest tonight is April. She's from Sacramento, California. And back in 2001, between 2001, 2004, and then in 2024, she had a couple sightings of UFO. And what's really, really cool about this, about 2008, while she was driving home, she's missing about 25 minutes of time that she cannot account for. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead and bring on our guest, April. April, how are you doing? Oh, before we get started, you guys, you may notice that April's not on camera. She has requested not to be on camera, so she's going to remain off camera. But while she's telling her encounter, I'll be bringing up some pictures, something you guys can look at. Yeah. So, April, again, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for reaching out to me. I really appreciate that. And just let you know, this is a safe place for you to tell your encounters on. And just like you wondered, had anybody else ever encountered any type of like lost time? And the answer is yes. There have been a few guests that I've had on that's had lost time. So this isn't something to be worried about or stressed out about. You're not the only one. So you're in a select group of people, I guess you can say.
Awesome.
So
Okay,
let's go ahead and
start.
Yeah, let's get into your encounter.
Okay, so it was between 2001 and 2004. I'm working at a nursing facility, like a nursing home / rehab facility. So it's a 100-bed facility, really beautiful, place, hospital. And that's where I did my certified nurse assistant class at. And that's where I met my best friend in the class. And we hit it off, and, we were like two peas in a pod. And the facility is like a circle. All the rooms, it's like a circle. And then in the middle, there's a courtyard. It's a really beautiful courtyard with tables and chairs, and it's open air. So like it's outside. And one night, because we worked graveyard shift. And so one night, me and my best friend, we went out to go sneak and smoke a cigarette. I know that's bad. But so we went into the courtyard and we're like, okay, let's smoke a cigarette really quick, right? So we're facing each other, standing there, just facing each other, smoking. And behind her, above the like rooftop, this giant white flash, just like it was a flash of white, like a big giant flash of white, like brighter than white though, like white. And it almost reminded me of those old cameras from the 70s, and they had that cube, the flash cube on top. And like when somebody would take your picture, you were like blind for 5 minutes. It almost reminded me of that, but I mean, giant, right? And I was like, oh my God, what was that? And she didn't see it because she's looking towards me, the opposite direction. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it was a white light. And she's like, you need to take a nap, and like making fun of me. And I'm like, no, like, I think a transformer blew up or something. Like, what if it's on fire, you know? So we went to the back of the building, and we're like looking to see if anything's on fire, and there's like nothing. And I was like, what was that? And she's making fun of me. And then a couple hours later, it's our lunch break. So I go, hey, let's go to Safeway because I want to get a sandwich, you know, like a deli sandwich. So we go to Safeway. I drive. We drive to Safeway. It's probably like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And we get to the parking lot, and I get out, and I'm like looking for weird stuff in the sky still, because I'm still freaked out by the white light. And I'm like, why is the sky so black? Like it was pitch black, like no stars. Like if somebody got a black Sharpie and just Sharpied the sky, like black. And she was like, oh my gosh, like, you're right? And then another car pulls up, and the guy gets out, and he's looking at trying to see what we're looking at. And he says it. He's like, the sky's so black. And we were like, right, it is, right? So then we go in, get our food, come out. And Safeway is only like a 2-minute drive from our work. So like maybe 7 blocks away. So we get in the car, and I know we're smoking cigarettes. And if I'm driving, I roll all the windows down, like if we're smoking. So my windows are rolled down. We're driving, and we get into like the neighborhood part. Oh, and the nursing facility we worked at was like right in the middle of like a middle class suburban neighborhood, you know? So we get to the part where it's like a neighborhood again. And all of a sudden we see a ginormous green, fluorescent green sphere, like not shooting, it was like gliding horizontal right above the treetops. And I stopped the car like in the middle of the street, and there's no cars because it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I stopped the car, and we're looking at it. I mean, for a good like 10-15 seconds, we're both like seeing this, and it's just gliding across the sky right above the treetops, and it's huge. And when it went out of view, my friend was like, we just looked at each other like, what the heck was that? Like, what was that? And she was like in shock. And I'm like, I told you something was weird. Like, I knew it. I was like, see, I told you. And she was like, what was that? Like, she started getting scared. And so the whole way back to work, we're like, okay, it wasn't a helicopter. It wasn't a spotlight. It wasn't a weather balloon. We're saying all these things that it wasn't. And I was like, okay with it being a UFO for some weird reason. I'm like, it was just a UFO, right? But it completely freaked her out. Like, her brain couldn't accept it. Like, she was freaking out. So we get back to work, and we're telling everybody. And of course, nobody believes us, like how she was when I saw the white light. and everybody's making fun of us, and she's freaking out. We're both freaking out, but like she's really like freaking out about it. And we're turning on all the TVs, trying to see like if it's going to be on the news, or nothing's on the news. And for like months, I swear she was turning into like Dan Aykroyd from Close Encounters. Like it was driving her insane. To the point where I was getting like really worried, and I was like, there's nothing, we can do, because she kept trying to like report it and researching and doing all these things, and she's driving herself crazy trying to figure out what it was. And I just sat her down and I was like, we just have to accept it, that it's unexplainable, And finally she like, I think she saw like I was worried, and she finally like stopped. But that was, that's what happened in that first encounter. And it was just unbelievable. And I sent Dano a video of what it looked like. Like I finally found a video of exactly what it looked like, except what I saw was 10 times bigger and going slower.
Yeah, what you sent me was pretty. It was odd, to tell you the truth. Because I don't have an answer for what it was and how it moved in the video. Definitely had me
A-
ask
And we
questions.
could see that it was a sphere, like it was a ball. In the video, you can't really tell, but in real life, we could see that it was a ball, like a
Okay.
perfect sphere. It was bizarre. So that's what happened in that first encounter.
Okay.
Should I tell like what happened with the missing time?
Yeah, I mean, because that's actually between your first and your second encounter. So yeah, that'd be great. Go for it.
Okay. So then in like around 2008, I'm working at a nursing home about an hour away from my house. And I was working graveyard shift, that night too. So I'm coming home in the morning, and it's the road I'm coming home on, it's like a busy street, and it's morning, so it's like morning traffic. So there's stoplights and traffic before you're getting onto the freeway. And you got to like merge crazy onto the freeway. Everybody's speeding and rushing, and so I'm at a stoplight, and then I start going, and then all of a sudden, a second later, I like realize I see a sign, like it's like I don't know, I can't even explain it. Like all of a sudden, I was looking at the freeway sign, and it's my exit to go home. So all of a sudden, so 1 second I'm 20 minutes away, and then from home, and then the next second I'm like getting off my exit to go home. And there's no possibility that, because every time I tell like my husband or my mom, they're like, oh, it's because you were tired, or people get hypnotized when they're driving, or I'm like, there's no way, because to get on the freeway, you have to like merge super crazy in morning traffic. Then there's another part on the way home where a whole freeway is merging onto the freeway that I'm on. So you got to like get in the fast lane to avoid all that mess. It's like you have to like really be paying attention and driving. You can't just be sleeping driving. There's no way. So then I'm like, I realize like where I'm at, and I'm like getting off my exit, and I'm like, I completely like panicked. Like my heart was like beating out of my chest. I was like, oh my God, like what happened? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I get home and I can't remember, it was so long ago. I can't remember if I got home 15 minutes early or 15 minutes late, but it was one of those. I think I got home 15 minutes late, but I don't remember, but I was completely freaked out to the point where I called my boss because I worked for a nursing agency. And I called my boss, and I took the next week off because I was like, oh my God, what if I am like driving, sleeping? Like that's impossible, but what if, right? But yeah, that was scary. And sometimes like when I'm driving, I think about that and I start getting scared, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what if that happens again? Like that was terrifying. That was more terrifying than seeing the UFO. It was so weird. And then the third encounter I had, me and my husband, we were at a casino. And so we were driving home from the casino, and it was probably like maybe like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Beautiful day, clear skies, just a little bit of clouds, but not really. We're driving home, and from the like corner of my eye, I see like something like metallic, like in the sky, like up in the sky. And I see something like metallic, kind of like when somebody lets go of a balloon, like sort of like that, but from the corner of my eye. And my first thought was, that must be like a big blimp for me to be seeing that, that far away. And then I look and I'm like, what is that? But there was this like, like the chemtrail, like the smoke or whatever that is from chemtrails.
Yeah,
It was kind of like that was covering it a little bit, like a haze kind of. And so I'm looking, and I kept saying out loud, what is that? I kept saying, what is that? What is that? And I was like, I'm like telling my husband, like, do you see that? Like, what is that? And when it cleared, like the haze cleared, it was like a dead on stereotypical spaceship, like mothership, huge, like giant. And I was like, oh my God, look. And I'm like, look, do you see it? Do you see it? Look. And I'm like trying not to look away. And I'm like, look. And I look at my husband, and he's looking at the dashboard. And I'm like, look. And I'm like yelling at him, like, look, right? And it's almost like he didn't want to look. It was weird. I mean, if somebody's screaming next to you, look, what is that? You're going to look, right? It's almost like he was trying to avoid looking. I don't know. It was weird. And I'm like, look, I'm like yelling at him, and he's like trying to look like nonchalantly look, and the visor's in the way. And I'm like, oh my God. I was so irritated. And then he looks, and then I look again, and that haze came back, and it was gone. But it almost looked like a hologram, like fake, like a fake hologram looking. But like the stereotypical like UFO, like a mothership, with the lights around it, flying saucer. And I was like, oh, I was so mad though, because he didn't look. I was so mad. And then of course he's, telling me it's like a blimp or something. And then the next day he was like, hey, you were right. Like a bunch of people saw something in the sky. And then later on that day he goes, oh no, it was a Chinese spy balloon. And I was like, a Chinese spy balloon? Like what? I was like, no way. I'm like, I knew it. I told you. I was like, I told you I saw something. But it was not, what I saw was not a Chinese spy balloon. Like 100%. It was not. It was metallic, and it was like a hologram looking. It was big. And I was like, when I turned on the news that night, I was so surprised that nobody else was reporting it, because it was big. Like, I'm surprised everybody didn't see it, but like he didn't see it, so I'm like, well, but then the next day, I guess a lot of people were reporting that they saw something. And my thinking is, they had to come up with something because so many people reported seeing something. So they had to come up with a lie, or, it's a Chinese spy balloon, which is crazy. But that's what happened. So that's my experience, my crazy experiences.
Wow, April, that is that's pretty awesome, to be honest with you. I do have some questions. So let's go to your first sighting. Now, you and your friends, you and your friend, you saw this thing, you pointed it out, and what you sent me, it was green in color. And you said
Mhm.
what you sent me was way smaller than what you observed, correct?
Yeah.
About how big would you say what you saw? How big would you
Like
describe it? Like
like
something for reference.
5 times bigger than that.
Okay.
It was big. And
Well,
we were just like looking at it clear as day. And right after it happened, I asked her, I go, what did you see? What did you just see? Tell me what you just saw. And she described it. And I was like, oh my gosh, what was that? Like,
so
we
it,
saw the same thing.
so it looked like a giant orb.
Yeah.
But now if you had to put it up against a vehicle, like about how big, like what type of vehicle would you say it was as big as?
Like 3 Hummers.
Okay, so like 3 big Humvees. Okay, yeah, that's pretty big. Um,
Huge.
did you guys notice any noise coming from it or from the
Nothing.
area? Nothing?
Zero noise. And I know my windows were rolled down.
Okay.
It was nothing. No noise.
Did you have any like odd feelings or um like were there any, did it feel like there was static electricity in the air, or did you have like an odd taste, like a metallic taste in your mouth, or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because sometimes people will say they hear like a hum, or they feel like static electricity in the air, or sometimes people say they taste like a metallic taste in their mouth. Um, Now, were there any other colors with this, or was it just that green?
It was just that green. That same exact green.
And you said it was hovering above the tree line.
No, it was gliding across
Okay, yeah,
horizontal,
gliding.
like gliding across the
Yeah.
tree line.
So these trees, would you say they're between 40 and 60 feet, 60 and 100 feet, or higher than 100 feet?
Like, um, like trees that are in a neighborhood.
Okay,
You
so
know, like just
you're
regular trees, like that are in a neighborhood, like
right. So you're looking at
redwood,
about,
you know, those like spruce trees
yeah.
and like
So you,
that, those types of trees.
about 25 to maybe 35 feet. Okay, whoa, that was pretty close. And about
It
how
was
far off of the road?
close.
How far off from the road was it to you? So where your vehicle was at, about how far of a distance away from you was it?
Mm, I'd say like about, I don't know, maybe like 4 football field
Okay.
lengths.
Okay. So about 400 yards. Okay. All right. Let's get into lost time. So you were driving. Now, what roadway were you driving down?
Well, first, where the last thing I remember, I was driving down like a busy street,
Okay.
and that street is the street that's gonna get onto the freeway
Okay.
for me to go home. So I was on the busy street, and it's morning traffic, so there's
Okay.
stoplights and you know
So you don't recall getting on the highway.
nothing.
Okay. And then the next thing you remember is your exit's right there.
Yeah, the next second I'm looking at my exit,
Okay.
the sign that has my exit on it. And I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Like I was terrified. And in that second, I didn't think I got, I was abducted or anything like that. I was like I didn't know what happened. I just knew like what is happening, like what is happening, like what just happened. And thank God I lived like, right off the freeway. So I just made it home, and I was
Mhm.
like having a panic attack, in my car when I got home.
Okay. Let
It was
me
terrifying.
let me ask you this. So while you were driving, do you recall anything pulling your attention away from the act, you know, did something else pull your attention away from you actually driving, like paying attention that you were driving? Because I know when I drive, I'm constantly looking back and forth and on the sides of the road. Things will catch my wife is like, "What are you doing? What are you looking at?" And it's just, I've had time, where it seems like I've lost time, but it's because my mind is racing so fast that I'm looking at other things. And next thing you know, either I've just blown by my exit or my exit's right there. I'm not saying that's what happened to you, but I'm just trying to help
No.
put the pieces together. So nothing pulled your attention away from driving or pulled it away from the road. Um, do you remember if you were listening to music while you were driving?
Yeah,
And do
most
you
definitely.
do you recall the song that was playing before you got close to the on-ramp? Or do you
No,
recall the
I think
song
it
that
was
was
just the
playing?
radio.
Okay. All right. And you said that you believe that you arrived home 15 minutes late than you normally would.
Yeah, like cuz I was trying to figure out like what just happened, and so I'm like, I looked at the clock and I'm like, why the time doesn't even match. Like,
Okay.
I would get home because I had to take my kids to school. So like I need to be home at a certain time, and so like every morning when I would work at that facility, every morning, like I had everything, timed perfectly so I could get my kids, make them finish getting ready, get them to school, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I always had like a regimen,
Right.
but it
No.
was way off. It was off. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
What time of year was this?
Mm, I think it was like probably around now,
Okay.
around these months, because I remember it being looking like fall,
Okay. And
like
again, this,
the leaves are getting cold and getting into winter.
yeah. And the reason I'm asking is, a lot of times, and I'm not saying that this is what happened to you, is that sometimes people don't, they start feeling, a little under the weather and they take like a cold medication. And, is that a possibility? Again, I'm not definitely not trying to debunk. I'm just trying to help you put pieces together,
Yeah, no,
No, okay.
there's no way.
Okay.
Because the facility was an hour from my house.
Okay.
So
Okay.
like if anything, I was drinking like Red Bulls or, something like that.
Right.
Coffee.
Okay. And now let's go on to the third. So this one I find really intriguing because the way you were describing it, I pictured it in my head. Um, and what I found really interesting is that your husband refused to look up.
Yeah.
Like he was focused either on the road directly ahead of your guys' vehicle or he was looking at the dash. And here you are. I'm not saying you were hysterical, but you were animated and you were telling him
Yes.
like listen, hey, honey, look
Look,
up,
look.
look at this. And he refused to look. So I find that really
Weird.
interesting. Yeah. Maybe your husband's an alien. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He could be, a person, that's like, if I don't look, it doesn't
I
really
won't see
exist.
it.
It won't be there.
Exactly.
Right. So
Yeah.
you said you're driving down the road, you see out your peripheral vision something in the sky, large, it's metallic. You said it looks like a blimp. And what's really cool is like you said, it was shrouded in like a mist or a fog or like a cloud. And as it slowly moved, it slowly started exposing itself. And you see this thing. About how long did you have a visual on this?
Like, I'd say like a good like 20 seconds.
Okay.
Like
And
around 20 seconds where I'm just like, look, and oh, it still irritates me
yeah,
that he
it,
wouldn't look. He's looking at
well,
like where the gas gauge is.
that would irritate me. Like,
I'm like, oh my God.
I'm not even married to the
Like,
man, and it irritated me.
just look.
um, so you had mentioned, your husband said, "Look, people did see something. It was a one of those Chinese balloons. It was wound up being a spy balloon." But the way you're describing it, you said like a large blimp. So let me ask you, so size comparison, you've seen the Goodyear blimp, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you've ever looked back in history, you'll see some old pictures from like the 1930s where you'll see these giant zeppelins, which are bigger than blimps, that the Germans used during World War One, World War II, I want to say. Um, Was it as big as a Zeppelin, or was it bigger than that?
It was like when it was fully exposed, it was huge. It was
So
like so big. Like, how is everybody not seeing this?
okay.
But
Would
you
you
wouldn't see it unless you're like looking up into the sky, you
right,
know? I mean, if you're just like looking at the road or, and not paying attention, you're not going to notice it. And it was like kind of like a hologram looking. So, like, it was kind of blending in,
right.
but
Yep.
you could see it. Like, once that cloud came off, it was huge. Like that Will Smith movie,
Oh yeah. Yep.
um,
Independence
where
Day.
that picture with the big,
Yeah.
UFO. I mean, that's the UFO,
Yeah. That's
but
insane.
not so colorful. And, it was more like blending into trying to
Right.
like blend into the sky.
Okay.
I That was so bizarre.
And
And
about
then the next day, my husband goes, "Hey, people are reporting that they saw, something in the sky." But at that point, he didn't know it was the Chinese spy balloon. We
okay.
didn't know that yet. Just a bunch of people had been reporting stuff. And so I
And
was like, yes, like finally.
I
Um,
assume you had seen video and pictures of that spy balloon, correct?
it looked nothing like
Nothing like
that at
okay.
all. Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Did you notice any lights on it?
Very like very faint. Yes, but like very, very, very faint. And like the stereotypical, you know, flying saucer, it's like a ring
Right.
around it,
And so it was a
like
saucer shape.
that. It was like a flying saucer
Okay.
looking, mothership looking thing. And when it disappeared, it was just like, it just blended fully into the sky. It
Kind of
didn't
like it
just
cloaked.
disappear. It like blended into the sky, you know.
Kind of
It
like like it kind of cloaked. Like it
Yes,
was there
that's the
and then it was
word.
gone. Okay. Perfect.
That's the word. Yes.
So, well, I mean, that's all I have.
Man.
I think they're fascinating. I mean, again, you know, a lot of people, they come to the Cryptid Podcast to hear about Bigfoot and Dogman and other things like that. But I have a small group of people that love hearing these UFO encounters, and I try to get it out to more people. Because sometimes people will say that there is some type of correlation between UFOs and Bigfoot. Now, I'm not in that camp of people. I believe it's, a Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call them, is 100% flesh and blood. Am I closed to the possibility of there's something being more about them or some other force that is involved? No, I'm not closed off from that. But again, until I see it, I'm
Yeah.
gonna I'm gonna be skeptical of it. Um, UFOs, I've seen a UFO myself. And so I believe they're real. The US military has acknowledged them as being real. You had, I want to say it was in Arizona, you had the lights. I think they were over Phoenix. And
Yes, the Phoenix Lights.
Kurt Russell, the actor Kurt Russell, was one of the first people to call them in. And you had thousands of people that witnessed those. So, it's they're out there. If anybody does not believe, then really try to open up their minds, um and understand that we're not the only intelligent things out there in the universe. We can be.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
but if you want to hang out in the lobby just for a second. I'm going to close out the show. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
And
you.
And again, if your friend wants to come on and tell her part of the story, I'd love to hear it. And if you have any other friends that may have had any cryptid encounters or UFO encounters, by all means, send them my way.
Okay, I will.
All right. Well, stand by, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes. All right.
Alrighty.
Well, guys, that's the show for tonight. Again, April, thank you so much for coming on. What great encounters. Because, guys, here's the thing. 2001, 2004 time frame, she sees one with her friend from work. 2008 time frame, she loses like 20-25 minutes of time. And then 2024, she sees something totally different than what she saw literally about 20 years earlier. So is there a correlation between these three? Are they connected in a way? I don't know. I'm not going to say they are. I'm not going to, grasp for straws to try to bring some type of relationship between all three incidences, because, in this world of the cryptids, where, who knows what can happen. So again, you guys, thank you so much. And if you guys have had an encounter and you'd like to come on the show again, drop me an email at the Cryptid Podcast 72 at gmail.com. Again, it's the Cryptid Podcast 72 at gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your story. And I'm not going to get out of here without saying it. As my buddy Josh always says, you guys stay prayed up out there. And as I always like to say, remember, you guys, a legend begins with a sighting. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you on the next show.
I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?